Get ready to get angry. Today we're going to talk about writing characters who deal with heated emotions. By the way, my name is Brandon McNulty. I'm the author of Entry Wounds, and welcome to my writing channel. Last week we talked about Attack of the Clones and how Anakin's anger went to waste after his mother's death. One of my subscribers then asked if I'd do a video focusing on anger and how to write it effectively. I thought that was a great idea, so today we're going to look at anger's place in storytelling. I'll give you some practical tips for writing furious characters, and we'll unload some examples along the way. Here's your spoiler warning for today. The ones in red contain the heaviest spoilers. Alright, real quick, let's define what anger is. Very simply, it's a hostile response to a perceived wrong, injury, or irritation. In storytelling, anger typically takes center stage when a character reacts to a negative event. Something bad happens, then a character responds by showing anger. That response might immediately happen, or it might happen after the character processes other emotions like shock, fear, sadness, etc. Either way, whatever causes the anger will dictate how the emotion impacts the story. If a character is upset about something minor, the anger may change the direction of a scene before fizzling out. However, if a character is furious about something major, their anger might motivate them to seek long-term revenge or go on a journey to change the world around them. In order to get the most out of a character's anger, we want to develop the emotion. That means exploring it in at least 3 steps. First, there's the cause of the anger, step 1, followed by an effort to process or suppress the anger, step 2, before the character finally releases the anger, which would be step 3. The problem I had with Anakin's response in Attack of the Clones is that he skips step 2. His mother dies after being tortured by the Tusken Raiders, then right after her death, he releases his anger by slaughtering them all. Unfortunately, he spends no time wrestling with his emotions or working through a dilemma, and because of that, the story feels rushed and it delivers less impact than it should. Compare that to the first episode of Attack on Titan when Eren Yeager's mother is murdered right in front of him. All he can do is watch while she's eaten alive by a Titan, and in the aftermath, Eren becomes determined to kill the Titans. His anger evolves, not just over the course of Season 1, but across the entire series, and that development makes him an engaging character. In general, if you want an angry character to be interesting, their anger should not only motivate them, but it should also create conflict, whether it's internal or external. Internal conflict deepens our understanding of a character when they face temptation and decide how to act upon it. Anger might also lead to external conflict if a character lashes out at someone or inflicts harm. Such actions create consequences, and those consequences bring the story to life. Now let's take a look at 5 tips for conveying anger in your story. First tip is to understand what angers your characters. Different characters should respond differently when angry. If everyone in your story reacts in the exact same way, you have work to do. First, think about what upsets them to begin with. One person might get angry if someone shows up 10 minutes late for dinner, someone else might not care at all. Next, think about response time. Some people have short fuses while others bury their anger. And finally, think about how characters express their anger. Do they force a fake smile? Do they yell? Do they get violent? Do they turn into a big green monster? There are plenty of possibilities, but figure out your characters and how anger affects them. Second tip, give anger purpose. We talked about how anger serves as motivation, creates conflict, and develops your characters, and all those things are great, but make sure the emotion does something. Don't have characters getting angry just to spice up a boring scene or to create empty conflict. That's cheating. Anger should arise naturally from story events, and it should bring your characters to life and/or impact the plot. Tip number 3, choose the appropriate anger for each situation. Not all emotions are created equally. Think about using large-scale, medium-scale, and small-scale anger to balance out your stories. Major events like a murder can create enough emotion to shape the plot, while medium-sized events might change the direction of a plot or the direction of a character arc. In these cases, you'll want to devote time to developing that anger so that the audience can buy into it. Then there's also small-scale anger. Sometimes this can change the direction of a scene, temporarily influence a character, or even provide comic relief. In these cases, we don't need to spend too much time developing the emotion. For example, think about the scene from Captain America where Peggy sees Steve kissing another woman. First, you have the cause of the anger, the kiss, then Peggy's anger develops, and finally she releases her anger by shooting at Steve while he's testing out his new shield.
Yes, I think it works.
It's short-term anger, and it doesn't have a tremendous impact on the plot, but it makes for a memorable moment of comic relief. Tip number 4, deepen anger with signals, sensations, thoughts, and actions. Many writers make the mistake of portraying anger in a cliched or one-dimensional way. They show a character yelling or gritting teeth or throwing punches, but they don't build up or explore the anger with compelling details. If you find yourself struggling in this area, I'd recommend checking out the book The Emotion Thesaurus, which I'll link to in the description below. This book includes more than 70 key emotions, and it lists off physical signals, internal sensations, mental responses, and even the impact of long-term or suppressed emotions. The anger entry, for instance, provides dozens of cues that can signal your character's anger. So instead of just having them yelling, you might show tightness in their eyes or have them entering someone else's personal space. You might also focus on internal reactions like quivering muscles or having them jump to conclusions. And if you have a character repressing anger, you might show them avoiding eye contact or slanting their body away from whoever's pissing them off. And of course, you can also mix in some of your own ideas and experiences, and that's the point here. In order to make anger compelling, you need to explore it in fresh ways. Go beyond the obvious reaction and have a character grapple with their anger in a manner that's unique and specific. Finally, tip number 5 is to spread anger like fire. Remember earlier when we talked about consequences? Often the consequence of anger is more anger from other people. If one character in your story is upset, chances are they're going to act on that anger and make someone else explode. This not only creates conflict, but it allows the story to explore anger from different sides and with different levels of nuance. For example, in John Wick, John upsets a mobster when he refuses to sell the guy his car. That causes the mobster to break into John's home and kill his dog, which of course infuriates John and sends him on a mission to wipe out the Russian mob. In Attack on Titan, Eren Yeager becomes outraged when a Titan murders his mother. He then vows to kill the Titans, and in the process he makes choices that anger his enemies and motivate them to harm his friends. One particular event early in Season 4 shows how unchecked anger leads to more anger, which leads to suffering on both sides. This is a simple yet compelling way of showing the consequences of giving into one's emotions, and also showing how anger can spread from one character to another. So look for opportunities to get more out of your character's emotions. See if there's a new plot development that can arise, or a new theme that can be explored as things get heated. So I hope this helps. Question of the day: what's your favorite example of anger in a story? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of any one of my books and be sure to leave reviews on Amazon. Entry Wounds is great if you like thrillers. It's about a guy who picks up a haunted gun and he can't put it down till he kills 6 people with it. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other videos. Maybe hit that thanks button for me. And as always, remember to keep on writing.